Well, good morning and welcome to 755 Live, about 5 minutes of what Jesus said. Just a reminder, you can see a different command of Jesus and a little soundbite of what Jesus said every day on our weekly Bible plan at bible.today.church. Today's Jesus said is God's house is not a business, from Matthew 21:13. Reading that verse, he said to them, "The scriptures declare my temple will be called a house of prayer, but you have turned it into a den of thieves." In this passage from Matthew 21, Jesus has just entered the temple and started turning over the tables of those who were exchanging foreign currency and selling animals for sacrifice. Why did he do this? I mean, sometimes we think that Jesus was just all love and rainbows and unicorns, but he had a passion for the house of God, and he actually angrily turned over the tables of those who were there, not following God's intention for what the temple really was. And I think it's important to realize that Jesus didn't get angry at the Roman government, which makes our government look like the Boy Scouts. He didn't get angry at the sinners. He didn't turn over the tax collectors' tables. But he went into God's temple and he was angry at what was happening, because the point of sacrifice in the Old Testament was to offer the best, and it was to offer something that cost you. But they had made the rules slack so that they could be convenient. Their sacrifices were all about convenience, not about really giving anything to God. And as I thought about that this morning, I was reminded that in 1 Corinthians 3:16, we're told that we are the temple of God. And if Jesus showed up in our house today, in the temple of our lives, what tables would he overturn? What are we doing just out of convenience and not really out of sacrifice? He said God's house is not a business. It's not something that we should take for granted or treat like it's convenient. Romans 12 tells us that we are a living sacrifice. How are we living? Sometimes we use excuses. I would pray, but there's so much other stuff going on. It's not really convenient. I would give, but there's just not enough this week. Or I would serve, but it's not really convenient. I would go to church, but I would read the Bible. I would memorize scripture, but it's not really convenient. Have we made God's temple, our lives, an offering and a sacrifice of convenience? I would love my neighbor, but it's not really convenient. Jesus went into the house of worship at that time and turned tables over because it wasn't about convenience. It was about offering to God the first and the best. What are we offering to God today? If Jesus were to show up in our temple, have we just made it a business of convenience, or are we really presenting our lives as a living sacrifice to him? Today's Jesus said, God's house is not a business. We are that temple. We are that house. Is your life about your convenience, or is it about offering a living sacrifice to God? That's what Jesus said. How can we put that into practice today?